Welcome, Hoary Marmot viewers and listeners. I'm with Brian Hurlbut. Brian is the executive director of the Arts Council of Big Sky. He has played a significant role in bringing programs like Music in the Mountains to Big Sky, if not a single-handed lift, and now acquiring the building formerly known as Chopper's Grub and Pub to become the new Big Sky Center for the Arts. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Great to be here.
And we are in the space. This is the Big Sky Center for the Arts. Partially done, a long way to go, and we got a very nice tour of the space, and you'll get to see a lot of it as Brian talks us through it. Are you tired yet?
Not yet. I think this is what's keeping us going.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's exciting.
It is such a great space and wild to walk in here, having been in this building when it was Chopper's before now. 24 years you've been on the Arts Council of Big Sky. Mm-hmm. Are you the artsiest, fartsiest man in Big Sky?
Probably not.
Okay.
But I don't know. If somebody wants to call me that, that's fine.
Okay, fair enough. Sum up your experience in this role. Is this something you're just going to do forever?
Well, I don't know. You know, people always ask me, why have I stuck around so long? And I think the easiest answer for me is the job has always been super fun and always changing. So it's not the same 9-to-5 job that a lot of people do. And I feel like, and a lot of us on the staff here feel like we have the best job in Big Sky. You know, our job is to make people have fun and let them express themselves creatively and get them out of their box sometimes. And I think that's a pretty cool job to have.
But you clearly feel like this is your calling.
Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as getting this building, you know, it's something we've dreamt about and I've dreamt about personally, just to have our own space for the Arts Council, which we never have had. So I feel like this is sort of, you know, this is where we were supposed to be, and I'm happy that I can still be here and be a part of it.
And before we focus so much on the future, let's talk a little bit about the past and
Sure.
what you've brought already to Big Sky. But I mentioned Music in the Mountains. Would you say that's your sort of most significant achievement?
I probably would, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when the Arts Council started, they really focused on bringing bigger bands that were ticketed shows, and you know, they were doing 4 to 5 large ticketed shows. You know, a lot of people will remember the Willie Nelson concerts and the Merle Haggard concerts, and those are really amazing memories and experiences for people. But for a nonprofit organization, they just weren't the right direction, I felt, and they were also a lot of money. You know, I think when we brought Willie Nelson here in 2010, I think we spent about $250,000 and made about $12,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was just a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem like what a nonprofit should be doing. So my idea was to start these free concerts that would be supported by the community, bring in up-and-coming bands, and just make it more of a community event, get businesses to sponsor it, and make it for everybody. And it just kind of took off.
And you can put it right here in town center. You don't have to control access, right. And all of the businesses here in town center benefit.
Yeah, and when it started, it was over in the community park. And
yeah.
We did it for 3 years there, and that was great too. But when we moved it to town center, thanks to the Simpkins family for putting the land together to make that happen, that was just a game changer. As the town was developing, and having the event right in the middle of town was just amazing.
We will talk about this summer and the artists you have lined up in a little bit. But let's talk about where we are, the Big Sky Center for the Arts. Are you just giddy about the potential for this space? Talk me through the extreme grub and hub makeover that is coming up.
Yeah, well, yes, we are all giddy. You know, the staff, the board, people that we've showed the building to, everybody is just blown away at what the possibilities are in this space. So already having our offices in here, we moved our offices in February, has just been incredible to have more space, to have a space where people can walk into. And every time I give somebody a tour of the building, I get the same feeling, like, I can't believe this is happening.
All right,
And,
let's do it. Give me the tour. Talk me through it. You've already walked me through it. So let's start when we walk in the front door.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we want it to be a showcase building for Big Sky. So we want it to be cool, fun, creative. We're an arts organization, so we don't want it to look like a bank when you walk inside or something.
Because it starts with the outside, right?
Yeah.
We're ditching that brown aesthetic.
We're ditching the Big Sky brown, without going too far. So we'll give it a little refresh. We won't change too much, but we'll do little pops of color on the outside. And a lot of it is about the light that'll project from the inside. So you'll be able to see it like at night, it'll light up and be a cool beacon.
Nice.
But yeah, the building's going to be, I guess our goal is to make it a community space where everyone can come in. There's hopefully something for everybody. There's going to be 5 classrooms, one of them dedicated just to kids, so we can do specific youth arts programming. We'll have a gallery. We'll have a couple multi-use rooms and an event space that the community can access. Dedicated pottery classroom, rooftop venue, which we got a chance to look at, and
so the rooftop will have, you were talking about, views of the Music in the Mountains stage, clearly the various ranges around, and what kind of events might people host up there?
I think there could be a wide variety. We do get a lot of requests for space, so I think there's the groups that come in to, like for the montage, for example, that want to go off-site to do an event for 50 or 100 people. There's just not that many options in Big Sky. Certainly anything that's as cool as being on a roof. So I think we're going to see a demand for stuff like that. And then obviously we can do our own events up there too, which could include anything from, cool rooftop concerts, viewing parties for Music in the Mountains, things like that.
Okay. And we went up a crazy ladder to get up there, but you're going to be putting staircases in, and this main area that we're sitting in right now will be the main gallery.
Yeah, this will be the main event space that could be used for a lot of different things. So we could hold a concert in here for maybe 100 people that are seated. We could host readings, lectures, classes, anything in here. Also doubles as an art gallery. It'll have movable walls, and hopefully a space where the community can come in and hang out too. We want to make it open to the community, not just shut it off.
Okay.
And then the other cool thing the building is going to have is a radio station. We got a permit for a low power FM station in 2024. Working on getting that going, and it'll have a home here in this building.
Okay. And that's also a podcast recording studio?
It definitely can be.
Exclusively, I have dibs on this space? Okay,
Yep.
Good. Making sure.
We could probably brand it. Hoary Marmot branded
Okay.
podcast studio.
I'm not giving you any money, but publicity. This is
We'll
what I
take
have to
it. We'll
offer.
take it.
So sorry. All right, and so there's also a giant kitchen, the Chopper's kitchen, and that will be used to some extent.
Yeah, we're going to definitely scale down the size of the kitchen, but we want to keep a commercial catering kitchen back there. So when we have events, groups can come in and use it. We could also hold cooking classes, things like that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we went through the kitchen, down the stairs to an enormous basement area that had several walk-in coolers. But tell me what your plans are for that space.
Well, I think the basement is one thing that we're maybe the most excited about, just because, for one, nobody has a basement in Big Sky. So it's just like this cool thing to go down the stairs into this basement. And it's a
Speakeasy kind of.
It kind of has a speakeasy feel, and that's what we're kind of rolling with. Our idea is to have it solely focused on music down there, recording studio, recording space, practice rooms, and then a little venue that can be used for a variety of things that could hold about 50 people. So it could be good for a cool Friday night jazz speakeasy show or the kids' summer rock band performance. So we're really excited about that.
Okay.
We're calling it the Sound Garden, so that's kind of our name for it.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's really great. And then you're saying the sort of atrium right now, the front part of the office, will open up onto the sidewalk. You'll have a big door there so that bands can perform out
Yep.
into town center?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we're excited about is just being in this part of town and activating this part of town. So events like the farmers market, how can we utilize the building to make it more of a part of that? And the indoor-outdoor flow is going to be a big part of that. So having that multi-purpose area where we could open the doors and the band could play out to the street, or they could play into the building is kind of cool.
That is.
Yeah.
I like the multi-purpose angle there. We're describing all of this like there's only future, but you guys have already done a ton of work on this space. Talk about, from the moment that you made the deal and you ended up acquiring the space, what was it like to take it over?
Well, we closed on the building on November 15th, and on November 16th, we had about 40 volunteers come in and demo the building. And that includes board members, community members. I have to give a shout out to Gina D, who's a local community member, rallied some of her employees come in, and we literally took sledgehammers to the bar and blew it all apart.
Because when you walked in, it was choppers. They had
Yeah.
done no work to dismantle.
No, it was
that
exactly
space.
like it was when they turned the lights off 4 years before that. So we ripped out the booths, disconnected all the water, all that stuff, and just literally in 2 days ripped out the bar area and made it an empty shell that we're sitting in right now. So,
And you acquired all of their cookware and dishes and all of that as well.
Yeah.
You were telling me that some of that ended up going to a new good home.
yeah, I mean, we don't have a need for all of that stuff. So, we went to the school and gave a lot of equipment to the kitchen at the school. We had a family that lost their house in the California fires, and they came in and took utensils and dishes and glasses and things like that. So, and we're working with other local restaurant owners who need equipment or, stuff just so we can go to another home without us having to deal with it. And, we're happy to pay it forward.
Absolutely. And for that stuff to end up doing some good, I think good on you for doing that. Let's talk about the timeline. What's the timeline for all this, and where is the money coming from?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We're learning a lot about that now. We hired a capital campaign consulting firm to kind of walk us through what that process would look like. At the same time, we have an architecture firm that we hired. They're giving us cost and construction estimates and things like that. Have to give another shout out to Todd from Two Bear Construction, who's been sort of working with us, helping us navigate all of this, which has been super helpful. And it's going to end up being, let's say, north of $10 million for the whole capital campaign, including paying back the original part of the deal with the donor was a loan, a really low interest loan that we have to pay back at some point. So we're getting those final numbers, but it's going to be a big project. But we look at it like we always envision building our own building for something like this, and I think that would probably be like a $20 million project.
Much more expensive.
And
yeah.
the fact that we can repurpose an existing building for a lower cost is something we're really excited about.
I like that you're viewing it like you're saving $10 million.
Yeah, we're saving money. Yeah, that's how we're going to approach it to the donors.
All right, let's jump ahead mentally to 2027, right? That's when you see this opening. The Big Sky Center for the Arts is open. I assume you're in a coma at this point. How is Big Sky using this building? What will make it worth it to you, all this work that you've put in?
I think what would make it worth it is just to see all the activity and to see the different kinds of activity, to see different community members using it in different ways. So, there's volunteer DJs coming in and out of the radio station. There's cool music playing in here. There's people in here having coffee and, reading a book or whatever, looking at the artwork in the gallery. And then all the different people that take classes. There's the kids area is going to be bustling. Hopefully lots of different options for adults as well. So just a lot of different community members coming in and out of the space.
Yeah.
Just really opening it up to everybody. And also, I can't lie, I'm excited about having our office here and it being like a really cool office.
This is your everyday where you come and spend the majority of your day is in this great space, traveling exhibits. You get to see neat artwork from all over, including locals who have done artwork. Are there specific artists who have already asked for space here? Are you jockeying yet?
Not specifically.
Okay.
You know, and I don't think it's going to be, we probably won't have rental space for artists in terms of that. I mean, you never know, but as far as exhibiting local artwork, for sure, we definitely, I mean, one of our core values is to support local artists, and I think we've done a good job, and we'll continue to do that for sure.
We've got some good ones here. All right, so let's switch gears, if that's all right. We'll talk about this summer. Before we get to it, I know it's impossible to boil all of like 16 years of Music in the Mountains down to one core memory, but I need you to try.
Okay.
Give me one that you will just never forget.
For Music in the Mountains?
Yeah.
I would have to say there's a lot that stick in my mind, but when we brought Andy Frasco here, I don't know if you remember that show.
I did not go to Andy Frasco.
It was 2017. And Andy Frasco, if you don't know him, he's one of my favorite performers, but he's a little bit, I don't know if lewd is the right word, but he has a tendency his shows are parties. And I was a little worried about what would happen. And I had a conversation with him backstage about the nature of the show. And I said, Andy, you know, it's 2 sets of music. If you could just make your first set fairly family friendly, that would be great. And I could tell, you know, this is a guy that gets off the van. He's in like bare feet. He's in a Lakers jersey. He's got a big afro. And, you know, I think he was smoking a joint at the time. Like he was ready to party. And he held it together, and I think until the very last song of the first set. And then he played one of his hit songs that had a lot of bad language in it, and it just went off the rails from there.
Okay.
But ultimately, it was probably one of the best shows we've ever had there, and I got a little flack for it from letters, emails, things like that. But the best part was that about a week later, I got a card in the mail with a $500 donation from a community member that said, and it was an older community member that said it was the best show they've ever seen in Big Sky. So I was like, all right, that worked.
It sort of canceled out all of the blowback.
But I haven't had him back.
It sounds like it could have been way worse.
It could have been worse.
The restraint Andy Frasco showed, impressive. All right. So we're recording this. This is full disclosure prior to the announcement of the summer lineup.
Yep.
But Michael and I are very discreet. So will you talk us through what we can expect? I know this will publish after the event. It tips up where you announce it. So this is not an announcement, but give me the highlights. What are you excited about?
Well, I got a couple things I'm excited about. As usual, I think it's a good variety. That's the main thing I try to do every year, is have a good variety of music. I don't always. People ask me how do I book the bands, and the first thing I tell them is I don't typically book my favorite bands, because that's not what people want to hear. I want to bring what people that'll resonate with people.
You got to please the masses.
Yeah. So I will say this summer I was a little self-indulgent. So I think some of those bands are the ones I'm excited about.
Yeah.
July 24th, we have Cracker coming here.
Okay.
If you're a product of the 90s, that you'll remember them. Just
a blast from the past.
Yeah, great band. They're still kicking. They sound great. So David Lowery he was in Camper Van Beethoven and then Cracker. So I'm super excited to have him up here.
Great.
July 10th, we're going to have one of my favorite jam bands, Mo, is going to be here.
I know Mo
very
well. All right.
I know him well, too, because I went to college with them back in Buffalo in the late 80s and early 90s when they started. So
great.
I've been seeing them for 30-plus years, so I can't believe they're going to be here. So
that's really cool.
It's going to be great.
All right.
We got Some up and coming bands, I would say. This guy, Zach Person, on August 14th, just a really ripping guitar player, kind of Black Keys style, just plays with him and a drummer. Awesome. This band called the Nude Party. It's going to be their first time they've ever been in Montana. Great band, though. I saw them in Nashville back in 2017 and have been trying to get them here ever since. Finally worked out this summer.
Yeah. Is that part of the appeal when you're trying to book bands, is finding bands that want a trip to Montana?
Yeah. And the series has a reputation, so a lot of bands want to play it, and finding those bands that are up and coming, and it's a great springboard for them as they're touring around, and so that usually works out pretty well.
Rattle off a few of the bands that have come through as up and comers. I mean, let's not downplay. There are some real names, right, that have been a part of this series who weren't necessarily well known when they played Big Sky, but then they went on to become much bigger names.
Yeah. I think a couple that stand out are Jason Isbell, which I know is one of your favorites.
Love Jason Isbell.
Played here in 2013 after he left the Drive-By Truckers, and certainly has won Grammys and sold out every venue you can think of since then. Lake Street Dive is another one. Huge band that's huge right now. Infamous String Dusters we had way back in 2010, also another Grammy-winning bluegrass Americana band.
They're so good, yeah.
So good. Mount Joy
was
awesome. Just another memorable show. Lucas Nelson before he got big. And then the Turnpike Troubadours is one that I still pinch myself that we actually had them here.
Yeah.
They're like $1 million band right now, and we had them. I think that was probably the biggest show we ever had. And one of my favorites.
They're an amazing band. Yeah, no, I think that list is a credit to your skills as a booker, because a band that you might not think has a huge reputation might just be on the cusp of really breaking through.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
And
any other ones for this summer? Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
I got a couple more.
Okay.
Couple returning bands. The Brothers Comatose. Great bluegrass band. We had them way back in 2015 when they were just starting out, and they're one of those bands now. They're playing under the Big Sky. They've sold out the Elm and Bozeman, so they're a big band
much
too.
Bigger.
Yeah,
now.
Great band. They're going to be awesome. Jamie McLean is coming back, who's been here a couple times. Big Sky audiences probably recognize that name.
I think so. Yeah.
Hot Buttered Rum is a band that I've never had here. They've been around. I think they're celebrating their 25-year anniversary. Just on that festival circuit, they're always playing. Just have never had them here, so they're going to come. And then Metal in the Mountains on September 4th, we're going to bring Hell's Bells, which is the all-female AC/DC tribute band.
Very nice.
So pretty excited about that.
Little something for everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
Fitting here in Choppers, gotta say. What else do I have? I don't know. Okay. Tell me, what does it mean to you personally to see the changes that you've brought to Big Sky and this, including this space?
I would say, I think just Big Sky, obviously it's a ski town, it's a mountain community. And I think sometimes those communities, that's all people focus on is the recreation and things like that. And which is fine if you're visiting, you come here, you ski, you hang out, and then you leave. But for those that live here, I just think that having more opportunities for culture and to experience different things will make people stay here and give those who live here just a better sense of place of where they live and give them more opportunity. So injecting that little bit of culture into kind of the ski town is I think what I'm most proud of, probably.
All right. I think that's a great answer. Michelle and I, when we first moved to Big Sky, it was through the arts that we ended up finding all of our best friends in town.
Yeah.
So I think it can be so powerful. And you're absolutely right that it seems on the surface like people are here just to ski and party, but there has to be another level.
Right. And then you throw in the kids that grow up here. You want to give them the opportunities too, because not every kid actually is a skier or a snowboarder, so they have to have other things to do, and that's what we're finding. There's a lot of kids that are obviously very creative here and might want to pursue the arts as a career or whatever, and I think we just want to help facilitate that.
That's great. And to have facilities like you've been describing in a town this small will be quite an achievement. How can people help if they want to be part of the solution here?
Well, there's a lot of ways. I think one way to get involved in the Arts Council is just to come say hi, come check out the space. And if you want to go further, you can volunteer at one of our events and see what we're all about. As far as the Center for the Arts project, we're going to be rolling that out. We're not jumping into a capital campaign. We still have a lot of work to do before we're ready to go to the community and basically ask for funding, which will happen, as we all know. But we want to be strategic about it and diligent and do it when the time is right. And we're working on all that now. But obviously, we're looking for people to be involved from the community. We want people to see the space too.
And in the meantime, the doors are open.
Doors are open, and we're activating the space. I think one thing we're realizing already is how much demand there is for space in Big Sky. For example, I think we already have 8 or 9 events on the books through the summer. One of them is the high school prom. It's going to be here in 2 weeks, which is great.
The prom itself is going to be in here?
The prom itself is
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It's going to be fun. Yeah.
That'll be great. And then I know there's a documentary screening.
Yep, Outlaw's doing a documentary screening. We'll have 2 classical concerts here in the summertime. The Spanish Peaks Foundation is going to do their singer-songwriter event here. So it's being activated, and it's super exciting.
Yeah. It's sort of like a project in motion.
Yeah.
And you get to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think our
events.
architecture firm called it a living laboratory, because we can see how the space is used and what works and what doesn't. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for the time being, it still feels a little bit like this is Choppers. Okay? So for the dumb marmot game, we're done with questions. This game is called Choppers Leftovers. All right? And we're going to talk about the relics that have been left behind and find out how observant Brian is when it comes to his new digs.
Okay. And there are lots of relics, I think.
As we walked around, I noticed some things, and I'm just going to ask you if you remember your own space. How many satellite dishes are there on the roof, Brian?
How many satellite dishes? There are 3.
Very good. These are going to get harder, but I knew that would be a layup for you. Got that one right. All right. Number 2. There's a loft in this room behind us over here. A couple of steps that go up. There are several televisions that are not hung on the wall. They're not on stands. How many TVs are in the loft right now?
3.
The answer is 4.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I thought we took one out.
Big X.
I do know there was 13 TVs originally.
13.
Yeah.
All right. Not including the video casino poker?
Correct.
It's a lot of TVs. All right. There is a liquor brand on the front of the host stand that's pushed up against the foyer wall now. What liquor brand is that?
Jose Cuervo.
It is Patron.
Oh, Patron. Oh, I knew it was tequila. That counts.
Don't worry. I'm going to make you look really dumb by showing video of each one of these as
I've looked at that like
as you're getting it wrong. All right. Next up. There are several file cabinets down in the basement left over from Choppers. How many file cabinets are there?
Let's see. There's 4.
I'm going to give you that. It's 3.5. One of them is very small.
Yeah.
It's just kind of tucked away there on the side.
Okay.
We'll give you that one, though. All right. In the kitchen, giant range in there. How many eyes are there on the range? And I'll give you a hint. It corresponds to the number of knives that are hanging on the magnet.
How many eyes?
How many eyes on the range? How many different eyes are there?
8.
The answer is 10.
10.
It's a 10 range oven or stove, whatever you call that. 10 eye range. All right, last one. Can you name 2 stickers that are on the whatever the bar top is? Can you name 2 of the stickers from that?
You mean the piece of metal that's
Piece
in
of
the
metal.
hatch back
yeah,
there?
it's covered in
Yep.
stickers.
There's one that
I took
says.
a picture of it. I want to make sure that I get this right.
Yep, there's one. I know this one because this was a band I was in for a little while. There's a Driftwood Grinners sticker on there.
Driftwood Grinners. Oh my God. Okay.
And it has an expletive on there, so I can't say it on the radio.
Well, listen, we can say whatever we want on this show. It's
bleep it
my
up.
show. All right, that's one. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, and then there's I believe there's a Hales Pale Ale sticker.
Hales
Yeah.
or Dales?
Dales.
Okay.
Dales. It's
We'll
red.
give
It's
it to
red
you.
and blue. I
It
know
is.
that.
Yeah. There's the.
Yep.
There's Dales. To point out the other one to me.
The Driftwood Grinners.
Driftwood Grinners. Because I want to give you
it's
credit.
I think it's on this one that's in the back. There's two
it's
two
covered
pieces.
up?
Yep.
All right,
and I could show it to you. I know.
I'll
it's
take
there.
your word for it. That's fine. That's all I got. Thank you. You did very well on that. You got what, like half of them? So pretty observant.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Could have done better.
I could have done
But
better.
you were also really close on a couple
Kind
of
of
those.
sums up my educational career. Could have done better, but I did just enough.
Choppers leftovers. That's the game. Brian Hurlbut is the man here in the Arts Council of Big Sky, and thank you so much for hosting me in this space, showing me around a little bit, and please, can I offer you the best of luck and keep me posted?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for coming in and checking it out, and we're excited about what it's going to be in the future.
We will check back in. I can guarantee you that.
Next time we'll be in the broadcast booth upstairs.
Oh, perfect. I like that. Yeah. Mike won't like to hear it. It's a little tight compared to
Well,
this.
I'm hoping you're going to have a show, too. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say no.